Now, there are different ways that we can word this problem. Sometimes they give you graphs. So I'm just going to do a couple more, and then you're going to do them. All right, so let's look at example 5. Find g of x, where g of x is a translation 13 units down. All right, immediately, as soon as you see 13 units down, which one do you think you're doing? Okay, 13 units down has got to do with y, so it's going to be outside and it's going to be regular, right? And then down is going to be what? Adding and subtracting. So in my mind, I already know that I'm going down 13 all the way at the end. And then I'm going 2 units right. Now, if I'm going right and left, which way is that? It's going to be x, right? So it's opposite of what I think. So instead of me saying right is +2, I'm really going to say what? -2. So this is going to be -2x. How do I say that? -2, I guess, in x. And 13 units down is going to be -13 in y. So, or before I even read the question, I already know that's what I'm doing. All right, so let's read the question. What does a parent graph look like? So what is this? This is y equals x. Okay, it's just linear. What does the transformation rule do? We just talked about that. It's going to go 13 down in y and right, which is -2 in x. What does the I just did that. Apply to the existing function. All right, so what is my existing function? So I started off with, so here's my f of x. So I start off with my f of x. And I need to make a g of x by doing what? Doing -13 down and -2 in the x direction. So again, my function starts off with just an x, right? That's my function. All right, so what I need to do is right 2, which is -2, okay? And then I need 13 down. And now I'm just going to put the original function back, whatever the function is, which is what, -8. Because all I'm going to do is take it right 2, which is -2, and 13 down, and this one is +6. So knowing your original function tells you where to put your parentheses so that you can know when you're doing it inside or outside. Now you can't leave the question like this, so you have to simplify this. So this is now going to be g of x is going to be -8x, and then -8 times -2, which is +16, +6 minus 13. So that's going to be -7. All right, then again, you can combine these like terms right here. So my final answer for g of x is going to be -8x, 16 minus 7, which is 9, so +9. All right, so this is my final function after I've applied these two rules to it. Okay, let me do another one. So find g of x, and it's a reflection across the x-axis, and here's what you have. Okay, so what does a parent function look like? This is absolute value. This is y equals absolute value of x. Okay, what does it do? So a reflection across the x-axis. So let's remember what it does. Reflections are negatives, right? Reflections are same as flips. So negatives over the x and y axis. And remember, negatives are opposite no matter where they are. That means if you're looking for x, you would think this would be inside, but it's opposite. So it's really going to be y. So it's going to be outside. So this is going to be a negative on outside. So that's what you're looking to do to it. So find f of x, and you're going to do a negative on the outside. So, and here it is being highlighted. So since I already know that what it is, it says a reflection for the x is change all the signs on the outside. So let's do that. So here's f of x. So g of x is going to be change all the signs on the outside. So here, -5. Do not touch the inside. The inside stays the same. And then change that sign to -6. All right, now that I've done that, you're going to go ahead and do this one. I'm not going to work this one out because the only difference is the same thing across the y-axis. So kind of think through what we did there, read this, and answer that question. And I'm going to do number 8 for you, and then you're going to do number 9. All right, so number 8, this graph is absolute value. Okay, so we know this is the parent function. So what does a parent function look like? It looks like that. Are there any shifts? So yes, because usually, right, now you have to remember, it usually looks like this, and then it goes +1, 1, and then -1, the absolute value of -1 is also 1. So this is -1, this is +1, and that's equal 1. Then it goes -2, absolute value of -2 is +2, absolute value of 2 is also +2. So you can see that it has a slope of, it goes 1 up, right 1, up one, right one. That's how it's always gonna go. Okay, so that's absolute value. Now looking at this, let's see whether it does that. So first, this vertex point has moved. Let's see. It's moved right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. So plus 5. And then it's moved down 1, 2, 3, minus 3. Okay, so that's the vertex. Now I have to check, does it do the same slope that it was doing before? So let's see, does it go up one, right one, up one, right one, up one, right one, up one, right one, up one, right one? You can see it does not. So in addition to it moving up right 5 and down 3, the slope has changed. And so there's a little rule that you need to remember for this one. Slope goes outside the absolute value. You just need to find your new slope. So there are shifts, which is here, right 5 and down 3. Then it stretches and shrinking. Yes, they are. Slope goes outside. So yes and yes. Then it flips. Did it flip? No. So I'm going to do 2 transformations. I'm going to write it out. So I'm going to start off. So here's g of x. I'm going to leave a little space like that. Here's my absolute version, just x, right? So this is x. All right, let's start off with the easy. If I'm going plus 5 to the right, how do I write that in here? Opposite, because it's x and opposite, minus 5. And if I'm going to go down 3, where do I put that? Outside. And again, the slope has changed from up one, right one, up one, right one, up one, right one. And what is the slope now? So let me find 2 corners right here. So my slope is, let me do this in a different pen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my slope is 6 over 5. So that's my transformations, okay, is right 5, down 3, and my new slope is 6 over 5. All right, given that information, read through this question and see if you can answer it.